Welcome friends. As we are already discussing in our last 2-3 sessions that how pricing can play important role in our revenue maximization, and we are going to discuss in this particular session a very interesting type of situation which is possible in various other domains also. Other domains, when I say that if you go to supply chain management, if you go to marketing management, in that cases also we know that many a times we have a main price or full price, and then for promotion of our products, for clearing the inventory stocks, we may reduce the price. That is known as markdown pricing. Now, we know that always demand follows a particular relation with price, and that is known as demand rate. Now, if you see that can you sell all your products at a particular price, there is no question of markdown pricing. If you have total inventory of let us say 1000 units, and if you are sure that if you can anticipate that all 1000 products can be sold at a particular optimal price, the question of markdown pricing will not come. But in all practical scenario, we see that it is not possible. You see generally in the fashion products that how you have a price during the main season, and as season is getting over, we have to reduce price for clearing the inventory so that we can now procure items for the next cycle. Similarly, in airlines, the examples which we are discussing, we may have a particular price and generally the price will increase as we are coming to day of service. But there can be a reverse situation also. If large number of inventory is unfilled, you may have to reduce the price so that some of the customers who are looking for a cheaper options, those who are price sensitive customers, they may avail that particular service. Like in case of vegetables also we see that when the market is opening, at that time vegetables will be at a particular price, and when the vendor is almost coming to the let us say closure of his shop, whatever is left out, he will sell that items at a lower price. So, there are variety of practical uses of markdown pricing. Markdown pricing is generally you will see in all those cases where perishability of your item is a very important criteria. If you can carry that inventory for subsequent periods, subsequent cycles, you will not mark down your item, because you will always like to sell the product at the best possible price. But you know that if we have to get value from whatever left out items are there, for that purpose we do this lowering the price, and this lowering the price is markdown pricing system. So, we will see in this particular session that what is the markdown policy. We will see with the help of some examples the issues related to segmentation, that how many different types of prices you are planning for your product. That means one price is the full fair price, another price is discounted price. There can be other company, full fair price, discounted price, and then you can have a deep discounted price also. So, it depends that how many segments you are going to offer in your pricing policy. In this particular class, that customers are not aware whether new type of pricing scheme will be available. But in practical scenario, it is generally the trend that we know that if a company is going to reduce the price, lower the price, how many times company is going to reduce the price, that becomes a kind of a trend, and customers anticipate that prices will be lowered at this particular time in the year, and accordingly they will be waiting for those lowered prices also. Then there is a concept of cannibalization, which means that when you are lowering the price and customer is ready that yes, that price will be lowered in the month of let us say October. I am preparing that okay, this is the month of September. So, I will postpone my purchase decision for the month of October. or if I am lowering the price in the month of September, I may go for forward buying. I will need the product in the month of October or November and I will purchase in the month of September. That is the concept of cannibalization. Rather increasing the market because of the lowering price, in fact, I can add more customers whenever the price is lowered, but it is always happening. The research has shown that there may be some new customer addition also, there may be market growth whenever you are lowering the price, but there will be lot of cannibalization also. The demand may shift from one period to another period where you have the lower demand, lower prices. And then we will see that how can we optimize the issues related to markdowns. So, as we just spoken that the policy of markdown means in a sequential manner you are decreasing your product's price until you are able to sell it or the selling period is over. Here you always need to understand, though we are not going to take this point in our this particular session, that I need to fix a lower bound for reducing the price. Let us say I am starting with a price of 100 rupees, I am reducing to 90, then to 80, and maybe I keep the lower bound of 50, because I also need to see what is the costing of this particular product. So, I in all practical cases I have a lower bound of reducing the price. Beyond that I will not further reduce in order to increase the, because you will always see that if I make the price equals to 0, I will be having the maximum demand for that particular product, but theoretically it is okay, practically it is not okay, because you can never sell a product on 0 price. So, this is impractical situation. However, theoretically in all our demand curves we see this type of situation that if price goes to 0, what will be the maximum demand. It is the markdown policy is used for perishable items where you have limited supply, especially as their desirability decreases near expiration. For example, all these flights, vegetables, flowers and all such kind of products, you can think of that perishability is a very important aspect for markdown. However, in this fashion type of items, though it is not physically perishable, but because the season is changing, fashion is changing, so the value which you can expect from a product which is currently in fashion, that value will decrease, and therefore, before its value is decreased, you will like to offer a markdown policy so that you can push that product to the market. So, there are different reasons for which you are doing the markdown. Time of use, a product is used at a particular time. If the product is not sold at that particular time, particularly for example, let me tell you about newspapers. Generally, when you purchase newspapers in the morning, you get a newspaper at full price, which is the printed price on that newspaper. You may try somewhere that if you buy the same newspaper in the evening, you will get this newspaper maybe 1 rupee or 50 paisa cheaper than the morning price. So, time of use itself is a very important thing, because in the morning the newspaper carries more value as compared to evening time. Fashionability, we just told. Deterioration, there may be some physical or quality wise deterioration in the product, like all vegetables, flowers, milk products, sweets, deterioration. I have seen in many shops where they are selling lot of sweet items, maybe after 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. they reduce their prices by 50%, so that they can consume all their inventories before they close their shop. In fact, some such shops, I will like to tell my TAs they can go and enjoy the sweet in the late evening from these places where the deterioration is a factor. Obsolescence, that is possible in case of, let us say, even automobiles also. Whenever there are possibility of change of models, iPhones, all these are examples that because of the new models, new technologies, old models, old products are getting obsolete, and therefore, a markdown policy is applied so that they can clear the inventory of these products. Now, let us see a particular simple example that how we are going to optimize our segmentation policy. Now, in this case, we have a product where the price response function, that is the demand rate, is given like this: 1000 minus 100 P. That demand of this product will depend upon the price, and if you see this particular function, so if you keep the price 0, I just told you it is just a theoretical thing, practically for 0 price that is no meaning. So, if the price is 0, the demand is 1000, and if price you increase slowly and slowly, and if you reach up to the level of $10, the demand will be 0. So, the maximum demand for this product can be 1000 only, and minimum demand is 0. Now, if you want to know what should be the best price where you can get the highest let us say revenue, so we can get the highest revenue, we will solve that demand into price, that is the revenue, and if I do the multiplication and after that multiplication we do the differentiation with respect to price, the price P is coming $5. Now, if I have 500 units with me, if I have 500 units with me at a particular time, I will sell 500 units at the rate of 5, and then I will earn 2500 as my revenue. Now, somehow I got one more supply with me, somehow I got one more supply which is coming closer to the period for which the products may be sold. But these products cannot be sold at 5 rupees now, because the time of use is almost coming to end. Now, how many more units I can sell at what price, that is the markdown pricing system. And for that purpose, if I apply the same rule, and let me show you with the help of our Excel calculations, that will help us to understand that how this markdown pricing will be applicable and we can optimize. So, let me go to the Excel sheet and see that how it is going to happen. So, here we see that we have a particular price. If you see our column C, row 4, C4, here we are keeping the price 5, we are selling 500 units and then we are getting 2500 revenue. The demand function given to us is now, out of this demand function, we have already consumed 500 units. So, another price which I am setting is now, let us say 2.5. So, we will see that at 2.5 I will be able to sell 250 units, and 250 units into 2.5 will give me 625. So, the total revenue will be 3125. So, this is how we have calculated that we are going to sell 500 units at the rate of 5 and 250 units at the rate of 2.5, resulting the total revenue of 3125. Now, let us change this scenario, because this additional 250 units came to me after I already sold 500 units. Now, in the beginning of this situation, when I have this demand curve and I have decided that I can have two price segments. I can have two price segments. Now, you understand that the optimal price was if you remember rupees 5 and I have in the beginning 1000 units available with me. So, if I can sell all 1000 units at this level, so the maximum revenue which is possible in this scenario is 5000. But I realize before the period starts that it is not possible to sell me all 1000 units at 5 rupees. I realize that there may be few customers who can give me more than 5 also, and therefore, I need to see that what are the two price segments which I can operate. So, here you see in this part of the Excel table where we have done this optimization for two segments. Here I have created 3 columns C, D, E. Column C is for what are the possible prices I can have. I want to have two prices, and for each price how much will I sell, and then my objective is to maximize total revenue. So, this becomes a small linear programming problem, and we will use Excel solver for solving this particular problem. Now, if I go to cell C9, if I go to cell C9, here you see that these values are coming which are our decision variables. Then you can go to cell D9 where we have the formula in cell D9. If I go to cell D9, the formula initially I am keeping 1000 minus 100 P, and P we have put from cell number C9. So, actually the same formula will what we have inserted here, that is 1000 minus 100 C9, because in C9 we have entered the price. Then we come to cell D10. Now, whatever value will come in D9 that we have consumed, now we need to see that remaining items can be sold at what best price. So, what we are going to do, that out of 1000 total units, we will subtract the values of D9, and then the same function 100 P will come. Now, this new P will be at new price label. So, this new price label is coming from cell C10. So, this becomes like this. So, you get these values in cell D9 and D10. Then we come to cell E9. In E9, we are writing the revenue calculations, that is simply the price multiplied by the sale, that is in E9 will come C9 into D9, and similarly for E10 it is C10 multiplied by D10, and finally in E11, which is the total revenue it is simply the sum of E9 and E10, and that we want to maximize. Objective is maximization of E11. This is what we have inserted in this particular area, which is encircled here from let us say C9 to E11. That is what formulas we have done. After entering these formulas, we will go to Excel solver, and let us take you to the Excel solver, and you can do it on your own. Once you operate the Excel solver, the initial values of price we will be keeping 0, the initialization values of the decision variables will be 0, and initial total sale which is available to us is 1000. And now if I go, this objective function will be set at E11, that is the objective function. We want to maximize this objective function by changing the values of our decision variables. These are in C9 and C10, and when we solve it, just you see that we have run the Excel and solver. The values are in front of you now on your screen. That price is coming 2 labels, one price label is 6.7 and another price label is 3.3, and at each of these price labels we are able to sell 333 units each. So, in a way you can say that around 333 units are unsold, and the revenue which you are getting around 2022 and 1111, and the total revenue which is available to you is 3333. Now, you see that since when we are taking this call at this label, we were not knowing that we are going to do any kind of segmentation. So, we started working with the original, you can say, best price available to us, that is the 5 rupees. So, we have 2 levels of prices in the first case also. These are 5 and 2.5, because the original planning was not that we are going to have 2 labels. However, we are selling more number of items, 500 plus 250, 750 items we are selling in the first case, but still the revenue is 3125. In the second case, we had a planning that we are going to offer 2 prices, we are having 2 segments. However, we are selling only 666 items, less than 750, but still we are getting more revenue, that is 3333. So, 3125 is less than 3333, because we had a plan in this case. Similarly, I have shown you the calculations for 3 segments. In the lower part here, this calculation is showing 3 segments, that in the beginning itself I have decided that we will be doing 3 segments. Let us say full fare, discount and deep discount. Now, in this case we have actually selling around 750 items, the same 750 items which we are selling in the first case, but here our revenue is 3750. So, 2 important things are coming, that if we are able to plan before we are starting the period, you may have better revenue calculations, better revenue generation from that limited sales. The second important outcome of this discussion is that if you are able to do more number of segments, if it is possible at all to do more number of segments, your revenue will further increase, because you will have multiple prices and there are customers available for taking the advantage of each of these price labels. So, that is where this kind of calculation will show you that you need to plan. It is up to you whether you want to have 2 segments, you want to have 3 segments, 4 segments, because calculation shows that 3 segments or more segments are better than less number of segments. But it is also true that in every kind of product it is not possible to have more than 2 segments or 3 segments at max. So, practically also you will see that in most of the cases we have only 2 or 3 segments. Now, going further in our discussion, so this diagram gives us the idea that when we are having this demand function, and in the beginning we know that we are going to operate with only one single price 5. So, this gives us the demand of 500, and at the rate of rupees 5 the revenue will come to be 2500. And when in the beginning itself we know that we may have 2 types of pricing, and one pricing gives us demand of 333, another pricing gives additional demand of 333. So, the total demand which is possible in this case is 666. So, there are 2 important things which are happening, that in place of 500 now you are able to reach to 666 customers. Then further, if you go back to your Excel calculation, when we have 3 price segments, in that 3 price segments we are able to touch 3 different categories with the help of 250 each. So, now you are able to reach to 750 customers, but that is only possible when in the beginning itself you are able to know that you are going to have 3 different price segments. So, that is how the segmentation of price in the beginning will not only increase your market share, that 500, 660 and 750, but it also helps in increasing your overall revenue. After this, another important issue is cannibalization, where we are reducing the price, and with this reduction in price we may increase our demand at a particular time, which is coming because of future demands. Those customers who are expecting to buy products in a future period, they will come and buy the products. So, here if you see from a practical point of view, that a 10% cannibalization fraction means that 10% of customers who would pay the first period price wait for the markdown. That now customers are anticipating that okay, there is going to be a lowering of price for any reason, and they will come for taking the advantage. So, they are keeping the purchase decision postponed or in the forward mode, so that they can take the benefit of this lower price. So, like effect of cannibalization in this 2 period model, cannibalization fraction when it is no cannibalization, independent demands of 2 periods. So, in one period we see that 6.67 was the price, and in the another period the price was 3.33, and the total revenue which is coming around 3290. Precisely if I go back with the Excel calculation, it was 3333, but because of the rounding effects, because in that it was 6.6666 and 3.3333, and the demands were also into 333 point something and so on. Now, if I consider the cannibalization factor of 20%, that 20% demand is shifted from one period to another period, and because of that you see the prices, like if I keeping the 6.87 and 3.75, some of the customer are shifting from this period to this period, some of the customers are shifting from this period to this period, this period to this period, this period to this period, and because of that effect my total revenue is decreasing as the effect of cannibalization is increasing, because customers know that there will be a markdown in some particular time, and they will wait for that lowering of the price. And even though you can understand that 7.37 and 4.74, both these prices are much higher than these 6.67 and 3.33 respectively, but still the revenue total revenue coming because of this effect is much lower than the revenue which we are getting with 6.66 and 3.33. So, it also becomes important thing for the policy makers to decide whether we need to create the markdown policy as a regular habit for our customers, because if it becomes a regular habit, then probably you will not be able to take the advantage, because customers know and they anticipate that how things are going to change in future. So, therefore, it is advisable that whenever we are going for markdown, it has to be some kind of a random efforts, so that in one cycle you are doing the marking down, another cycle you may not do the markdown. So, it is always a kind of a surprise to the customer, so that the demand of 2 markdown periods or 3 markdown periods, whatever you have, is totally independent. Otherwise, the effect of cannibalization will actually neutralize all the benefits of marking down. So, with this we come to end of this particular session. Thank you very much.